So now we're going to move on to the data. You have the different groups shown in the very first column. You have the multiple joint, multiple joint, and single joint together. On Mondays is when they would do session A. Multiple joints would do 3 sets of barbell squats, 3 sets of 45-degree leg press, 3 sets of lunges with dumbbells, and 3 sets of barbell deadlifts. For the single joints, you would do 5-set leg extensions, 2-set leg curls, 3-set hip thrust, 2-set of 4-point kneeling hip extension. Then the multiple joint and single joint combined was a 3-set barbell squat, a 2-set leg extension, a 2-set leg curl, 3-set hip thrust, 2-set with a 4-pointing kneeling hip extension. You moved to session B on Tuesday. The multiple joint started out with a 2-set bench press, 2-set military press, a 2-set incline bench press, 2-set lat pull down, 2-set seated cable row, and 2-set upright row. Single joint started out with 2-set chest flies, 2-set lateral raise, 2-set triceps pulley, 2-set bicep curls, and 2-set concentration curls. Your multiple joint and single joint started with a 2-set bench press, 2-set chest flies, 2-set lateral raise, 2-set lat pull down, 2 seated cable row, and 2-set biceps curl. So as you can see, the multiple joints, they're focusing on the different multiple areas. The single joints are focusing on one specific area, and the multiple joint and single joint are combining from sessions with multiple joint and single joint and incorporating them for their sessions for A and B. Okay, we move to the chart. This chart is explaining the increase, if there was an increase, with the 1 repetition maximum. So the changes are from the baseline of where they started out. I'm giving you the end results of how they became. You have MJ, which is in the orange, multiple joint and single joint combination is in the red, and in the brownish color is just the single joint. You can see that it honestly kind of varies, but depending on what the workout was. So you have like leg curls, and then you have leg press. You can see the difference. Like sometimes multiple joint will increase higher than the others, and then there are times where you will see that the single joint just barely passes the rest of them. So it's kind of all over on how much they've changed. There isn't one specifically that had the greater increase than all of them. Okay, now we moved on to muscle thickness. It does look like for the multiple joint, which is in the red, the multiple joint and single joint, which is in the light brown, and in the bluish gray is the single joint. It looks like the muscle thickness did change a good little bit when it came to the multiple joint. Just barely, especially over here on this very last one, is where it changed. And again, these also started from the change from baseline, so where they started out with what their muscle thickness was starting before the 24-week process. So this is just an image just so you kind of get the idea of what it means by adding muscle thickness. This girl, you can see over here in the already trained, she's already pretty much trained. As we can see, she's pretty well built. You moved over to her muscle thickness that's added. You can see that her arms definitely have increased in size, as well as her glutes and legs increased when it came to muscle thickness. So the analysis of the data, the study compared the effects of the 24 weeks of resistance training performed with multiple joint, single joint, and multiple joint and single joint exercise combined on muscle strength and hypertrophy in trained women. To the best of the author's knowledge, this is the first study of comparison with resistance training in 3 different exercise selections that focus on the muscle strength and hypertrophy in the upper and lower body muscles that lasted longer than 12 weeks. So really, this is the first time it's been done within 24 weeks. It seems that all the others have only lasted 12 weeks, which is a small amount of time when you're actually thinking about it. So what did the data show? According to the results, both multiple joint and the combined multiple joint and single joint groups produced a greater increase in strength for multiple joint exercises and muscle hypertrophy for pectoralis, quadriceps, and glutes in comparison with the single joint group. Single joint and the combined multiple joint and single joint groups produced a greater increase in knee flexion and in comparison with the multiple joint group. It is viewed that the multiple joint exercises are what provides optimal strength gains on exercise and hypertrophy for specific muscle groups. And the reason for that is just because it's focusing on more than just one specific spot. If you're working on squats, you're working on your legs and some of the upper body as well. The greater increases of the muscle groups was performed during the multiple joints with the pectoralis, quadriceps, and glutes. So the conclusion is the author's hypothesis was actually incorrect. Remember, they thought that the single joint groups were going to have the larger increase. So they believed that it would have the larger increase when it came to muscle thickness for the sole reason that single joint exercises focus on one specific area, when really multiple joints showed the larger increase with one repetition maximum and in the muscle thickness. Multiple joint exercises are likely more effective to increase overall muscle strength, where single joint exercise vaguely provides further benefits. So it may strengthen the one area, but you're not going to see the benefits that you expect to see when looking in a mirror. If there will be a future research on this matter, the authors will need to take into consideration of the participant's nutritional profile, so they need to understand the carbohydrates they're taking in, protein, fats, what is their daily diet. And as for now, the authors have declared that there is no conflict of interest. I hope that you have enjoyed this article review and that you have learned something from this. Thank you.